Hi, music lover, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm very happy with my first composed pop song, the song called Trespasser, which you can hear and see on my YouTube channel. And a couple of my followers asked me to tell you a little bit more about the creation process, and that's what I'm about to do in this video. I'm using a PowerPoint presentation because I have a lot of subjects to discuss and I don't want to forget any. Let's see how that will work. When I 6 weeks ago decided to compose my first pop song, I had a couple of goals in mind which I wanted to achieve by composing this song. I wanted to compose a very standard pop song, nothing too fancy, just the regular building blocks of verse, chorus, bridge, and then another verse or chorus, or only the chorus, but you get the idea, nothing too fancy. I wanted to create a song with a fingerstyle intro. Fingerstyle is what I do a lot, so I thought it would be a fun way to start a song. I wanted a song with a regular time signature, so I chose just a 4/4 signature. I wanted a bridge with a key change, so the song would keep on being interesting. I wanted a catchy chorus, something you could sing along to, something that sticks, becomes an earworm perhaps. I wanted to use dynamics, so I had some parts with soft intensity, low intensity, and I wanted to create some parts with a build-up in intensity and volume. I wanted to use percussion effects, and I really heard in my imaginations the banging on drums during the chorus to really stick the chorus out of the song. I wanted to create a guitar solo in the bridge or in the outro. Never have done that before, create a guitar solo, so that would be interesting. I wanted to write lyrics that rhymed and also to have the lyrics uh, make the lyrics with specific themes. So the verses had different themes than the chorus. I will discuss it a little bit more later on. And I wanted to use distortion on the guitar parts and especially on the rhythm guitar parts. Here you can see some of the steps I took during the creation process, and I will highlight them shortly right now and discuss them a little bit more detailed further on this presentation. I took the step of choosing the chords, create the fingerstyle intro and the solo. I wrote the lyrics, I created the melody, I was recording different parts of the piano, the guitar, the singing, etc. I have done a lot of trial and error. I translated my imagination to real music. It was a big part of the creation process. I practiced singing a lot, and the most time I spent was in the editing and the mixing. One of the first steps I took was deciding which chords to use and creating a chord progression. I've already posted a video on my channel on this process, so if you want more information you have to watch that video. But I used some new knowledge of music theory and especially the theory of function chords can have in scales. And I used that new knowledge to create a chord progression. And what I've learned is that there are home chords within a scale, that there are departing chords within a scale, and those chords create a sense of optimism, of a journey which starts, and therefore the name a departure chord. And there are returning chords, that are chords which creates the most tension, which are the most dissonant, and really leave the listener with a feeling of wanting to return home to the home chord. So those are often the most interesting chords within a scale and a chord progression. For the bridge, I wanted a key change, and that is a matter of, for me, it was a matter of experimenting and to see if I could come up with a great transition, a transition chord from the A minor to a different key. And I came up with the key D minor, and there are a lot of shared chords, so it was an interesting key change for me, and an interesting process of using my knowledge and to puzzle which solutions I could came up with. I also had tried the G chord, and I thought another key. I don't know it anymore, but the D minor was the chord I chose, the scale. Creating the fingerstyle intro was fun to do, not too hard because I have a lot of experience with playing fingerstyle guitar. And when I chose the chord progression, it was really a matter of choosing the notes to play with the chord progression which I chose. The solo creation process was a little bit harder because I first had to really analyze which notes I could play in the bridge because I then had decided to create a solo for the bridge. The bridge is in the D minor, and I analyzed which notes I could use within the pentatonic scale, and I was analyzing which neck positions I then could play. And then it was just a matter of improvising, and I also left the pentatonic scale and by ear just was listening which other notes I could include, which even made the solo sound better in my experience. So nothing to say more on that, just a matter of knowing which notes you can play, know the finger positions on the neck of the guitar, and then just improvise. The first step I took was write the lyrics even before choosing the chord progression, and I thought about the story I wanted to tell. And I started from a very personal experience, and it was a feeling of being lost for words when in a conflict with someone very witty and someone that has very snappy things to say and really touches you in a negative way in your soul and leaves you with stress and reduced zest for life the day after because the conflict is still in your mind. And the feeling of being lost for words, having nothing to say back to that person during the conflict. That was the central theme I wanted to be the subject of my song. What I've learned is that lyrics have specific themes or goals in a song, and a verse often describes a situation or a problem, and that's what I've done as well in my song. And a chorus is oftentimes the answer to that situation or problem which is described, and not an answer per se in the sense of problem solving, but it can also be a question which is asked. Um, Oftentimes, songs use a lot of metaphors. I've tried that as well, and even the song title is a metaphor, Trespasser. And the verse and the chorus, and perhaps the bridge, do have different themes. And in my first verse, I departure from a very personal feeling from the subject of the song, and it's a lot of I if you listen to the song. And in the second verse, it's a lot of you. So the subject of the song is pointing towards the other person in the conflict. When I had decided the chord progression to use and the lyrics were finished, it was a matter of creating the melody. And the first thing I did was to analyze which notes I could use, and therefore you have to know which scale you're in and know the underlying chords during the progression. And then it's just a matter of trial and error. And what I did was create the melody lines on my piano, and I find it more easy than on my guitar, because yeah, I find the guitar a little bit more difficult in finding the right note. And when I sat behind my piano, it was a matter of having the lyrics in my mind, and in my mind, or perhaps even out loud, sing the lyrics, and then yeah, find the right notes on the piano and try with different things, experiment with different notes and different rhythms and different intervals, etc. And yeah, it's really a matter of taste and really listening to yeah, what you are liking, and experiment. The recording process is another important step, of course, in composing and yeah, creating a song. And I have no fancy equipment. I have no quality microphone. I have no external sound device for my laptop. So it's just a matter of recording my guitar and my vocals with my smartphone. I used the free software audio mixing and editing as a program Audacity. I've used it before. It's very easy to use, and it's free, so that's really nice. I recorded all I did on my piano digital, so there was a cable directly from my piano to the USB input of my laptop, and within Audacity I then could directly record my piano. All I've done on the piano, like I said, so even the percussion effects, the synthesizer effects, the electronic piano chords, the classic piano chords or acoustic piano chords, etc. All is recorded digital. The guitar parts were recorded with my smartphone, like I said, and I wanted in the second half of the song to use some distortion effects on my guitar, because I had decided that I wanted to build up intensity. So I thought, and I could hear it in my mind, that with distortion the rhythm guitar would even bring more intensity to the song than use acoustic rhythm guitar. I was not happy with everything I experimented and I tried, and because I have an amplifier and an electric guitar, but I don't often play electric, and I have no experience in how to record the electric guitar with distortion. I tried it on my smartphone, but the end result was disappointing. So that's perhaps something I have to learn in the future. So I skipped it. It's also creating a song is also a matter of killing your darlings and killing great ideas, but that turn out to be too difficult to achieve. Composing the song was also a matter of yeah, trial and error, and especially in gluing the different parts I composed together. So to glue the verse to the chorus, and a chorus to the bridge, and two choruses glued together. And yeah, you have to really create and compose the cement, the building blocks in between, the glue in between the parts, and that was a matter of trial and error to listen which chord progression would sound nice, and which would, and with which rhythm and with which intensity was nice to yeah, be the transition to a different part of the song. That was fun to do. Even more difficult, I would say, than creating the parts like the chorus and the verse themselves. So it's interesting to have experienced that creating and composing the glue is important and difficult. Um, but overall, composing the song is experimenting with everything, with the chords, the rhythms, the guitar parts, the piano parts, with the volumes of tracks, etc. Trial and error, experimenting was a big part of creating this song. But perhaps the most important and an even bigger step and the most fun part of composing a song, in my experience, is using your imagination, and that's done by not having the guitar in your hands, not sitting behind the piano or behind the laptop, but when you are lying in bed and are listening to a concept version of the song which you recorded, and then in your mind, try to imagine how the song will continue or what you want to create with the song. And that was the most fun part for me. And sometimes I had a concept in my head, and that was sometimes that I could hear how the melody was going, and I already had the idea of creating a choir at the end where different persons are singing the chorus to make the intensity build up. Um, I wanted the outro of the song with a repeating chorus so that the metaphor trespasser really sticks. And like I said, I really want the ending of the song with build up in intensity and create different layers of musical instruments. And I thought that a hand clap would be a great way to build up intensity and to really give the sense of a lot of people which are cheering together Trespasser. That was what I wanted to create. Oh my God, guys and gals, the singing part, it was very, very hard for me. I never sing. I think for myself that I'm a very bad singer, and it took a lot of time and a lot of takes. And singing the melody with the right pitch was a nightmare. I'm somewhat content with the end result. It were the best takes, but I think that my voice is not really pushing the quality of the song higher. But it's fun to do everything myself and to really create every part and to experience what I can do, what I find difficult. So I decided to just use my own vocals, and that's okay. Um, the singing is done by listening the takes often back and really listen to where the pitch, where I was leaving the pitch and where I had to improve myself. So that's another big step. It was difficult. A little bit more information about the editing and mixing. The first thing is that it's very important that you know your software, and I've really learned to use Audacity and use the different tools and abilities of the program. I think that I've not used 10% of the abilities, but at least the basics I've used, like compression, some equalizer effects. I've used some reverb effects, of course, the cutting and gluing of different parts and sections of a song together. And I also played with the volume levels of the different tracks I recorded and to see what is the best ratio. And what I did was every day when I composed or edited and mixed, I have to say, I exported frequently to MP3 files. And then when I was doing some other things, I was listening with my headphones to the recording and then decided, okay, these are the things I have to change. And sometimes it were new ideas, or sometimes I heard that the volume of a specific part was too low or too high, and I altered it. So it was a great way to tweak the song in progress. Yeah, I think that I've discussed the most important steps I took, and I hope you liked it. I will end with just some information about tools you can use. What I did before the creation of Trespasser was watch a lot of videos from the YouTube channel How to Write Songs. It has a lot of great videos and information about how to write lyrics, come up with the chord progressions, how to create a melody, etc. A lot more, but that's what I can think of right now. Audacity, of course, free software, so nothing that holds you back to experiment with editing and mixing. Use your own imagination. I think for me that was the most interesting and the most important part. Hear in your head before you even start to compose what you want to create. Of course, sometimes with improvisation there is something that is born that is fantastic and that you can use. But the broad concept of the song was already in my head before I started to compose. And the last thing, for me, it took a lot of time. I think, oh my God, how many hours? Perhaps 100? I don't know. Yeah, I lost time. But in the last couple of weeks, I was obsessed with composing this song. It took a lot of time. A lot of times in the evening and sometimes even during the night. I was so excited that I wanted to keep on composing. And yeah, I had changed some sleeping hours for composing hours. Yeah, I will leave it at this. Thank you for watching to this video. I hope yeah, you find it interesting. Perhaps you are experienced with composing, and then this is a video in which you see what my first steps were, and perhaps you think, oh yeah, I can remember how it was for me. Perhaps you have some tips for me. Leave them in the comments. And if you have never composed yourself, then I hope this video will give you some information and some inspiration to start yourself. If so, good luck. I will see hopefully you guys in the next video. Bye.